What's up, YouTube? Day 3. Let's get into this. We've got a fair bit to talk about. You guys were awesome in the last Chaos Daily episode. Got lots of comments, lots of interesting feedback. We're going to have a chat about a couple of those comments. But before we do, a huge thank you to Simon Privet. I'm saying that right? I hope I'm saying that right. Dude, MVP. He went and posted that last video on a whole bunch of Facebook pages, and this happened. So yeah, thank you, Simon. That was awesome. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad to have you here on the channel checking stuff out that I do. So let's get into some of these comments and go over a few things. The universe travels the path of entropy. The only way forward is chaos. So first up, we got a comment from a long-time subscriber of the channel, Ivan. He says he likes my concepts, looking forward to seeing some of them made in reality, has been motivated to do more practice. Now, I just want to say here, that is fantastic. Thank you so much, Ivan. Yeah, practice is one of the things that isn't given as much importance as it should be. We have too much of this culture in our society. It has been since I was a kid, and it still is, that when people do something and it fails or it doesn't look good or it's not what other people expect, then they are shunned, or there's a stigma, or there's the whole get good mentality and stuff, which it is really toxic for people being able to progress and get better at something, because what we need to do in order to get better at something is to do something over and over in many different ways, make lots of mistakes, make lots of failures, lots of accidents. That's how we grow as individuals. And we need to get away from this mentality where it's frowned upon, or people look down on people, or you feel pressured that you won't do something unless you're able to do it, that's going to meet somebody else's expectations, and it's terrible. So yeah, go out there, make as many concepts as you want. Don't care if they are really crappy looking or anything. What is important is the things that you learn through that process, and how you get from where you are now to being able to do things that you want to do in the future. And the only way you can do that is by practice. So go out there and just do all sorts of stuff, have fun, and don't worry about how things look or what other people expect. Just go ahead and do it. It doesn't matter. It all matters at the end of the day is how you feel about the progress you make. Next up, we have a couple of comments from Jotham. I'm saying that correctly? Jotham? 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 A couple of comments he made on episodes 1 and 2 about, first up, talking about the gear reduction on the Draco. Yeah, so there's lots more information about that in the Draco series. I pointed you that direction. There are a couple of reasons for why I've gone this route with the gear reduction. Whether it's going to work or not, we'll have to find out. But it comes down to, there isn't any motors that would meet my needs at a price that isn't daylight robbery. So that's where we're at. But you did write more about other stuff, which is more interesting. Well, not more interesting, but just this is what I wanted to get going. Is this dialogue of different technologies and concepts and stuff that we can try in the future. And you brought forward the Prantle flying wing. Yeah, that was done years ago. It's still just a flying wing. The concept of pro versus yaw and stuff like that, it's not new. We've been using it in different things. There are a couple of planes as far back as World War II that used a pro versus yaw moment in the design of the wing and stuff. So it's not a new thing. But yeah, we'll definitely look into those sort of things in the future. I have, like I mentioned, I have an idea for a biomimetic wing structure, so that it actually has the core and the structure of the wing is built like the main bones of the wing of the bones in the wing of a bird, and then all of the control surfaces will be activated using compliant mechanisms, so materials that have enough flex and bend in them that when you put a servo linkage on it, it will bend and flex the whole surface, which will bend the surface of the outside skin, so that there are no individual flaps or any hard edge surfaces or hinges. It all sort of flexes and bends and alters to like the wind and stuff, and then so the wing can change its shape as well as being able to use its aileron or even flap. So that's something I really want to try out, like in like a year or two when I've got more experience and more knowledge behind it. I've got some of the basic concepts in my mind for it, but it's not to the point where I can start designing it. I've still got a long way to go to get to that, but that is definitely something I want to try, is more of this sort of pushing the limits of aviation technology and how we can develop these things. So with 3D printing, that's really easy. So thank you so much, Jotham, for your comments. This is what I want to see, is more dialogue of us talking about interesting technologies and how we can use them and how we can adapt these things that are normally only seen by big, expensive research firms or military endeavors, bring that into the home with, you know, desktop 3D printing and stuff like that. How we can push the limits of technology ourselves without having to have big $1 million budgets. So yeah, thank you very much for that. And before we finish with the comments, the last one to go over is Simon's comment. So thanks again, Simon. You've been really active, and yeah, you just went out of your way to make sure that other people saw what it is we're doing. So yeah, I definitely love the comment you made here about the EDFs. I'm a little bit out of touch with the RC industry at the moment when it comes to what motors and what equipment is out there. I've been sort of under a rock, so yeah, I do some cool stuff with CAD design and stuff, but I want you guys to assume that I just don't know about certain components, motors, servos, stuff like that. I understand how they work and all those sort of concepts, but what the shopping list is, what's actually available, I'm not so sure about. So please, this kind of information is fantastic for me. You mentioned the Banggood Motion RC FMS fans. If there are does this, I'm going to look this up, because if that includes the motor, like the EDF and a motor for, you know, $38, $25, dude, I'm going to be all over that, and we are definitely going to make the next RC plane an EDF, because that is dirt cheap. For me, it comes down to the money, right? So I live at home with my parents. I'm a 30-year-old without a job. This is what I do full time. So I have to be really careful with how I'm going to spend money for these projects for you guys, when, you know, I don't have like some other YouTubers, like the big Patreon counts, or, you know, I'm not even monetized on YouTube yet. So I have to be more careful with what I spend on these projects. But if that's the case, if that comes with motors, I doubt it. $25 for a 50mm with a motor, that's insane. That would be great. I'm not too worried about the actual EDF shrouds and the fans, because when I get my printer, I'll be printing those things anyway. So for me, it'll all come down to motors and setups, ESCs, batteries, all that sort of stuff is expensive. So I have to keep the price down. So you guys giving me this kind of advice, pointing me in the right direction for cheaper equipment, that is fantastic. I want to hear more about that. That is awesome. So thank you very much, Simon, and thank you for sharing my video on those Facebook groups. That was fantastic. Once again, here's the picture of what happened to my viewer count yesterday. That was awesome. So, what else can we talk about? Well, let's jump into Inventor real quick, because today I've been working on the Draco, but it's not what I'm doing for the video, so I can show you. So let's go have a look at that. I've been working on the forward motor casing, working on the bearing runners and stuff. I've actually designed this casing now. Instead of being one big round piece, I've actually split it in two parts, and it will be bolted with 6 bolts, 6 screws, bolts, socket heads, and that way I can capture the bearings. And if I want to take it apart, I can remove the whole drive shaft and prop assembly with the motor, with the belt, the ring gear. So on this here, let me open it up. This piece, and this will be removable. But so the drive shaft and this spinner cover, the core that connects the spinner hub and everything to the drive shaft, as well as the ring gear, the bell housing for the gearing, that's all going to be one solid piece. So when I take it apart, I need to be able to, you know, take it apart in certain ways, and that's why I decided to split this casing. Also, I've added in these grooves and channels that run around the outside, so that when I clamp this casing together, it actually attaches it to that whole casing, and then that whole casing is attached to the airframe. So I like that so far. I now just have to come in and design some more parts for like attaching this part of the motor. So this has to be fixed to that casing, and then this part is actually okay. So yeah, all of this will be one piece minus this, which, come to think of it, is not going to be so easy to remove. Alright, so that'll all be one piece. Don't worry about it. It gets put together, it doesn't come apart. I'll just have to make a new one if it breaks. And that all gets captured inside of this, which sits inside of here. Fantastic. So that's what I've got done today so far. I'm going to go edit this video now so that I can get that uploaded for you guys. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the evening working on the next Draco episode. So I'm going to sort of break my day up. The first part of the day, I do some stuff, do some YouTube management, read comments, reply to comments, do Chaos Daily, and then for the rest of the day, I'll work on whatever the main project that it is that I'm working on at the time. In this case, it is the Draco RC. So I'll start working a bit more on the Draco RC video that's coming up in a few days. So, I've been Chaos as always. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your subscribe. If you're not subscribed or like just yet, please go ahead and do that. It really helps out the channel. And until next time, expect the unexpected. I'll see you guys later. And a special thank you to all my patrons that help support the channel. If you would also like to support the channel, there's a link in the description.